Hey YouTube, Hunt for here. Talk about reloading some 300 black in the man cave. Reasons I think you should probably start reloading these days. Look at the recent history. Ammo unavailable. Afraid to shoot what you got because you can't replace it. So probably now is the best time to make a small investment so you can reload your own and develop a skill that you may need one day. If you enjoy shooting and hunting, you may not have no options but to load your own. So a few things you're going to need. Start out. Just get your inexpensive single stage. I like the turret type, so it's a little bit quicker for changing out the dies, that type of thing. Not a big investment, 80 bucks. You can get one of those. Small powder charge measure. You can either use the small individuals, or you can use the Lee, which is pretty daggone accurate. You're going to need your case sizer for whatever caliber you're using. Some good lube, sandpaper, and a measuring scale to check your powder loads before you start filling cases. Also going to need a nice micrometer, case cleaners, and primer install kits. Most of that stuff's relatively inexpensive. You can get started up for probably about the price of 1,000 rounds of ammo for 5.56, and some of your cheaper military cartridges. Not a real big investment. Something else major, if you're going to start doing 300 Blackout, you're going to have to be able to resize and cut your 5.56 cases and 223 cases. So you may want to invest in small little chop-off saw, like the one from Harbor Freight. It works really great. Looking at some other videos and stuff inspired me to build a jig and do it myself with one of those as well. From what I can tell, as long as you keep a little bit of lube on there, the blades last for a very long time. You don't have to replace them, and there's not much of a cost after the initial purchase. Pretty nice tool. Works really well. Other thing you're going to want to have is all your dies and stuff needed for whatever caliber you're going to load. I got some of the most common calibers I like to do, 5.7s, 5.56, that type of thing, and pistol cartridges. Series of powder. Make sure you got your load data on the different powders so you don't overcharge or use the wrong powder and mess up a firearm or get injured. No data is going to be given just for that safety reason only. You'll have to find your own information and research it and spend a little bit of time on the loads. Alright, first step to loading your brass, go get you some decent brass. Hand pick the stuff. Make sure you got no damaged casings. You might want to invest in a case sizer, which was a good idea on one of the other YouTubers. Works very well, so that when you cut it, you can make sure it's not going to cause a problem and damage the firearm or get stuck inside the chamber, which would be probably pretty aggravating to get out. So once you get you some good brass, just go ahead and pop the primers, get them prepped so you can clean them. If you don't want to invest the money in a tumbler, I found a good recipe for cleaning the brass, basically using 3 parts of apple cider vinegar, 1 part water, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of dishwashing detergent. After cleaning them up, letting them soak for about 10 to 15 minutes and moving them around a couple times, they'll be pretty clean after 20 minutes. You can pull them out, clean them off, and dry them. I like to use an old tomato can. I can use a heating torch just to get a little bit of heat to them. Kind of prep the cases and dry them so you don't have any moisture left in the cases after you're done. Pretty easy thing to do, pretty inexpensive thing to do. And you can reuse that same solution for hundreds and hundreds of rounds to clean them. Lasts a long time. I like it. The next step we're going to go into resizing the cases. A lot of people doing it a lot of different ways. Watch a lot of videos. Trying some hands-on myself. I found out the best way to do it is pretty much going to be to pull out your primer extracting pin on your case sizer and go ahead and take your regular 5.56 brass like it is before you cut it and go ahead and resize it. When you do it that way, you don't have the problem with flaring the ends of the casings and stuff when you try to resize it. The full length shell holds its shape when you push it through that die. Makes it a lot easier to reload, a lot better. Your casings and stuff don't tend to stick inside your die when you do it that way. So that's my preferred method after trying it several different ways. Just lube them bad boys up. Make sure they got some lubricant when you go to push it through your die. It's going to be a lot easier that way. Just from personal experience, try it yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. And that case sizing tool Every time I've run them through with a full length shell, it fits perfect inside that sizing die. When you cut them off, you're not going to get the same thing. So it's definitely the best way to go. Go ahead and put me a couple of them in here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I got my pre-sized casings over here at the chop saw. Go ahead and cut them off. It's pretty quick and easy most of the time, but you get one that sticks. You may want to check it in the die and make sure you want to reload that casing. Now after you've got them out, you may want to check them, make sure there's no burrs, deburr them, get them ready before you clean them. That's the way I like to do it. That way when you dip it in that chemical solution, it takes all the oil and everything you use to prep the cases off. And then you'll be able to do the last step, which is going to be popping out the primer and final resize after it's been cut to the proper length. Alright, casing has been cut, deburring the inside, the outside. Alright, next step, put the tip back in for the primer to push it out, and then I can push out my primers, getting the case ready for cleaning. Alright, I've dried a few, put them in this can, hit them with my little propane torch, map gas, not keeping it in one position and shaking them around so I don't warp or disfigure the casings. I just did a quick dry. Generally I'll do 100 casings at a time, put them on a pan in the oven for about 10 minutes to make sure they're good and dry and there's no residue or water or moisture in the casings. I did these quick ones here with that torch just for this demonstration. Alright, not going to give out any load data. I already popped primers, reloaded a few cartridges. Didn't want to put anything in there that somebody can use that's not right for their firearm or their length of their barrel. So, finished product, nice and clean. Ammunition looks awesome. Performs well. I've already fired test rounds under this load. Very pleased with the 300 Blackout. 5.56 is a great penetrator and it's full speed. Does a lot of damage when it penetrates through body armor and that type of thing. Thing I love about the 300 Blackout, especially when you go to subsonic with that slower bullet, you've taken that little teeny 5.56 round and brought it down to the performance of a 22 long rifle and even less than a 22 Magnum. So I prefer the 300 Blackout using the silencer and subsonic. It's definitely the way to go. And then the nice thing is you can load up your rounds depending on your barrel length, what kind of bullet you're using for hunting, other things where some states in North Carolina, some counties don't allow 5.56, 223 for hunting deer. So 300 Black's definitely the way to go. It's making me consider changing over several more of my rifles to the same caliber and changing barrels out so that I can enjoy that heavier bullet in hunting and other sports areas instead of just protection and home defense. It's great for all those with the 300 Blackout. Love the cartridge.